Good afternoon and welcome to Real Talk with me, Anele. So who do the kids listen to? That is the question all brands that want to tap into the youth market ask themselves. But research shows that the brands who get it right are the ones who don't ask who the kids are listening to, but the ones who actually listen to the kids. Joining us is the CEO of Yellowwood, Blyth. Now, I have to be honest as to how you came to be sitting in my chair. I read your article as I was doing, research for this topic last night, and I came across the article that you published last month.
Yes.
Where you were talking about the importance of listening to the kids, and
yes.
and I was like, oh my word, this is it. This is it. This is the money right here. I have to have you on my chair. Then I called you like at 10 at night and I begged you to please come on here. And now you're here.
We're here.
Thank you so much for being here. Now,
Pleasure.
in your article, the one thing that jumped off the screen and onto my lap was when you said, be the confidant and not the teacher when it comes to interacting with the youth. Do you care to elaborate what that one was about?
Sure, absolutely. Look, that's the one point I really like the most because it talks to being a friend and not being a traditional parent in a brand sense. And what the youth or young people don't really enjoy in terms of engagement with brands or companies is people who talk vertically down to them.
Talk at and not to.
Absolutely. And our traditional education system and our traditional parenting system is very, very vertical. Whereas today, because there's an abundance of content, information, access to knowledge from all over the place, friends, social media, young people are getting information from all sorts of sources, and it's much more what we would call a horizontal kind of learning method rather than a vertical one. So the respect for kind of top-down, you will do things this way, or listen to me, I'm a brand and I know better, is really not working.
So for me, the tone I picked up when you said, be the confidant and not the teacher, is not necessarily, what did you do, but hey, what did you do?
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying? Like, kind of confide in me.
Be in the mix.
Yeah, be in the mix.
You're part of the friendship group rather than someone outside of the friendship group who's telling you how important they are.
I hope I'm not putting you in a corner, but you say something relevant. Now, it's very, it's a bit of a dafting thought to have to walk into a room of kids and say something relevant.
Yeah.
What is something relevant to children?
Well, if you'd been listening, I guess, as a brand, you would already know what is relevant in their lives. So you'd be able to pick up on that conversation and be part of that conversation. I mean, that's one of the 7 points, actually, is you've got to listen and then respond very, very quickly and be very agile as a brand. But also, when you do that, don't be something you're not. Just be yourself, be true, be really authentic, because the young people pick up insincerity in a heartbeat, and they'll disassociate with you because of that.
Okay, so the 7 points.
Yes.
We've already got one. Be the confidant, not the teacher.
Yes.
Give me
be
all
yourself, be true.
Be yourself, be true.
Just respect me.
Let's talk about the evolution of pester power.
Yes.
That's also one of the 7 points.
Yes.
What is that?
Well, in my day, when I was young, people talked about pester power.
When you and I were young.
Generation X, I think. People talked about pester power being, you conjure up this thought in your mind about a young kid kind of nagging in the supermarket and nagging for something. But in today's world, pester power is far bigger than that. It's, the youth are responsible for 121 billion in direct spending alone in rand terms, but beyond that, they have far more influence on household spend.
Oh.
So, because young people are staying in their households for longer because of affordability reasons, and they're part of the conversation and have knowledge about where to travel, what cars to buy, what's a good brand, what's not a good brand, and they have a lot of influence over household spend beyond just that 121 billion rand.
So what you're then saying is that the evolution of pester power is the fact that it now lasts a lot longer than normal.
It lasts a lot longer, but it's actually broader than just,
for themselves.
A kid wanting a sweet at a checkout aisle.
Okay.
It's actually influencing household decisions, which are significant in terms of either family travel or assets that get bought for the house like a car.
Okay.
Yeah.
I totally hear you. You know, there's a cliche that says, you know, the youth sees no color.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Where are we with that?
Well, I've got an opinion on that, which I think that you know, every child is actually born perfect, but then we unlearn them.
Yes.
And I think it's adults who unlearn children because of their own stereotypes and context.
Yeah.
And actually, if you think about it, it's such a truism that children are born just being themselves.
Yeah.
And that's what young people want. They just want people to be themselves. And they want brands to be themselves and just be honest and say who you are, why you're here, what can you do for me, and just be real.
So then, do you find that the brands who are still demographic specific when it comes to going after a market?
Yeah, I find that hugely problematic. It's a
isn't
massive
it?
issue, yeah.
Okay.
Targeting on demographics is very 80s and very old school. I think in today's world we should be looking at value systems, and value systems are often driven by generations where people, you know, how the generations that are being born today have a value system which is quite particular, and we need to understand that as marketers. But more than that, inside that particular segment of people that have been born since 2000, for example, we need to understand the different attitudes, the different belief systems, the different, you know, social contexts in which these young people come from, and connect with that in an appropriate way. So we're not coming at it from a very 80s mindset to say, I'm brand X and I'm here to arrive and tell you who we are and why we're better than brand Y. It's not about, you know, that kind of distinction is not really relevant for young people. They want to know what are you going to do for them.
Does it not scare brands that, you know, the millennials, you know, the ones born 2000 and up, they have embraced changing their minds a lot quicker? I mean, when I was growing up, you know, if you had made a decision, you've made a decision, and you can't change your mind.
Yeah.
I mean, with them, it's like, well, I liked that yesterday, today I like this, and this is where I am. Does that not scare brands a little, that their minds can be changed so easily and quickly?
Yeah, I think it should scare us completely.
Yeah.
And it's good to be scared because we need to react to that appropriately. And the successful brands in the future are the agile ones, the ones that are able to respond quickly to change, and that understand that young people have more choice and an abundance of information, an abundance of knowledge than what we had in our generation. And we come from an environment of scarcity, scarce knowledge, scarce, even money, resource, people, etc., and skills. And it's the opposite for young people today. There's an abundance of everything, and we need to, I guess, appreciate that and go, how do we re-architect our brands, re-message our brands, re-present our brands in a much more relevant way, so that we're in young people's worlds, not outside talking in.
Okay, I might be pushing you into a little corner now. In closing, which brands would you say are doing a really good job when it comes to talking to and listening to the youth?
Yeah. Look, I would say Converse is a great brand.
I agree with you.
It's not necessarily out there shouting all the time. You won't notice much advertising for Converse, but it is there, and it is existing in a relevant way inside, you know, young people's lives. Relevant products and services, relevant communication where appropriate. I think Nike's also a good example. They've done pretty well in the survey too, the HDR survey. Another good one is Nivea, actually, which came out tops from a skincare range. And I think just because it's completely authentic, it's not trying to be something it's not. It just is what it is, and that talks to that point about just being true to yourself as a brand. F&B does pretty well too, and probably because of the technology that they've built into their value proposition. So when they talk about an offering to a youth market, or even to broader markets actually, there's a lot of technology bundling and combinations, which I think is quite appealing to a young segment.
David Blyth from Yellowwood, your efforts do not go unnoticed. Thank you so much for joining us here. And I'm sure as these things evolve, you'll come back and you'll join us in the chair.
With pleasure.
And we'll chat more about it. On the way, a platform manager to the youth Trust me, I also don't know what that is. We speak to the youth that speak to the youth. And finally, someone who went to school to study the science behind all of this. Stay with us.